Some wrestlers become icons, some become champions, some change the industry. And then there are the wrestlers who had everything: talent, charisma, moments, crowd reactions, but somehow they never got that push or the spotlight or the championship run that wrestling fans know that they deserved. Today, we're giving those stars their flowers. This is the top 5 WWE stars who deserved way more. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Escape podcast. It's Kyle. This is your weekly escape into wrestling, past, present, and future. And today's episode is a big one. This isn't just a who didn't get pushed list. This is a celebration of the wrestlers and their fans that still talk about decades later because they were that damn good. And before we get started, shout out to the Escape crew listening to every single episode every week, whether it's 50 of you, 100 of you. I don't really check the analytics too much. It just means the world. You're helping this show grow weekly, and I appreciate you so much choosing to spend time to escape from your everyday life and talk pro wrestling with me. Now, this week in WWE history, we go back to December of 1997 when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove his monster truck into an arena. Not the beer truck, not the Zamboni, the OG truck that set the tone for the absolute chaos that Stone Cold would unleash for the next few years in the Attitude Era. And an additional one, in 2002, we saw an early TV appearance of the Doctor of Thugonomics. John Cena, still figuring out his swagger at this point, but already showing signs of the megastar that he would soon become. All right, it is time for our main event. We're going to jump into our top 5. Starting us off at number 5, we have Jake the Snake Roberts from the Golden Era. Now, Jake the Snake is one of the most compelling characters I think that WWE ever created, and somehow he never held a single championship in the company. Not one, zero, none. And when you hear that stat, it sounds impossible, right? I mean, Jake just was not, he wasn't just a wrestler, he was a psychological master. He rarely yelled, he rarely screamed, and he really made you lean in when he was speaking. His promos were quiet, they were cold, and they were definitely calculated. And that cadence and that combination forced you to listen and made every feud that he had feel personal. Now, here are some stats and key moments for Jake the Snake's career. He debuted in WWE around 1986. At the time, he was the creator of the most feared finisher of that era, and that was the DDT. He had massive feuds with Ricky the Steamboat, Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, Ted DiBiase. I mean, you name it. I mean, he is a legit top 5 promo of all time candidate. He did get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2014. And Jake the Snake had something very few wrestlers possess. You can make an entire arena sit in absolute silence. Now, the issue, WWE's golden era was dominated by Hogan and cartoonish characters. Jake was darker. I mean, he was more psychological and really ahead of his time. And WWE at that time really didn't book heels to hold titles long term during that era unless you were Hogan. Now, if we fast forward to today's wrestling, how would Jake the Snake fare? Well, I think he'd have a world championship run built around character work alone. Jake Roberts didn't just deserve a title, he deserved a defining era, and I don't think he ever got it. Number 4, a new generation wrestler is the late, great Owen Hart. Owen Hart is widely regarded as one of the greatest in ring talents of the 90s, and yet he never held a world championship in WWE. He wasn't just a great wrestler, he was a complete performer. He could be funny, he could be vicious, he could be sympathetic. He could even be obnoxious. And he always made whoever he was facing look better. And here are some stats and key moments from Owen Hart: 2-time Intercontinental Champion, 4-time Tag Team Champion, T94 King of the Ring winner, WrestleMania 10 opener, which was, I think, a 5-star classic with his brother Bret Hart, course, a member of the 1997 Heart Foundation and just one of the smoothest in ring workers ever. But here's the reality: the new generation era was kind of chaotic. You had titles bouncing around between Brett, Diesel, Shawn, and Taker. And then by the time Owen was fully ready for a world title push, WWE shifted into the Attitude Era where characters like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley with Mankind, and Triple H dominating the main event scene. Owen Hart absolutely should have been a world champion at least once in his career. A technical wrestling genius, a reliable storyteller, and a performer just beloved by fans and wrestlers alike, even to today. I mean, his legacy is massive, but his title history doesn't reflect what he truly meant to WWE. Now, number three, this is an Attitude Era wrestler. I really wanted to think more about this list, and on the surface, there's some names that most people would guess, but this one I thought was a good one, and I'm going with Test. Now, Test to me is one of the biggest what if stories of the Attitude Era. I thought he had everything WWE wanted in a top guy during that time. The guy was 6'6, he was jacked, he was athletic, he could honestly move like a cruiserweight, looked like a believable main eventer, had an effortless connection, I thought, with the crowd. And for a brief moment in 1999, Test was white hot. The storyline with Stephanie McMahon made him one of the most over baby faces on the roster. Fans were behind him in a way that is rare for a young talent, especially in an era of the Attitude Era. Some of Test's stats and key moments: he won multiple tag team titles. He main evented Raw often in '99. He had feuds with Triple H and an outside of the ring, The Rock, and Shane McMahon. And he won the Intercontinental title. He won the Hardcore title. One of the best big man athletes of his generation, I thought. And his downfall, Test's downfall, wasn't really lack of talent. It was timing, which happens to a lot of professional wrestlers who have it all. The timing isn't there, and just the booking of the Attitude Era. It was every night. They were. I can only imagine what the creative room was like during the Attitude Era. Man, that's just I would love to be a fly on the wall for that. But every week that roster was shifting. Storylines, like I said, changed overnight, and WWE stacked main eventers so deep that Test kept having to get bumped down the card. But make no mistake, fans saw him as a future world champion, and he absolutely could have been one with the right long term build. Test is still talked about today somewhat because people know that he deserves more than what he ultimately received, and that's why he is number three on my list. Number two on my list, Dolph Ziggler. Many can argue he could be number one on my list. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Dolph Ziggler might be the greatest, should have been bigger superstar in modern WWE history. For over a decade, Dolph was the most consistent performer in WWE. I hate saying Dolph. He is Nick Nemeth. That's his real name. Dolph just, I mean, that was his WWE name. I like saying Nick better. Anyways, Nick, he could sell like a machine. He could wrestle any style. He could cut promos at the best of them. He could make mid card feuds feel like main events. And just we all remember that moment, that Money in the Bank cash in 2013. My God, I will never forget it. One of the loudest reactions of the past 20 years came from my couch and also from the crowd. Just a moment that proved fans were ready for a true Ziggler World Championship run. And it's kind of felt empty and fell short. Now, some of Dolph Ziggler's stats and key moments: he was a two-time World Heavyweight Champion. He was a six-time Intercontinental Champion, a two-time U.S. Champion, a four-time Tag Team Champion, a 2012 Money in the Bank winner. And I added this Survivor Series 2014 Soul Survivor because that was the match of the year, I thought. And when you hear those accolades, you're like, well, why is he on your list, Kyle? Well, he could have been that much better. That's my whole point. The whole purpose of this top five is not that who should have had more titles. It's just who really just deserved way more than they got. Like, yeah, sure, Jake the Snake, he could have had any title he wanted, but he just deserved way more. Same with Dolph Ziggler. But here's where Ziggler's story turns. His Ziggler's his pushes always just stopped. Sometimes it was injuries, sometimes it was timing, and sometimes it was Vince. And they did not want to commit to him long term for storytelling. Despite being one of the most gifted athletes on the roster, Dolph Ziggler spent years as the workhorse. I mean, he delivered amazing matches, but rarely got meaningful character investment. Now, he didn't get one short reign, not one cash in, just the treatment that all the top guys get, Dolph Ziggler did not get. I think he's a modern example of talent not matching the opportunity. And fans will always love him, especially when he came back recently. Um, just for that one time in the last time is now tournament because they know how special he was to us fans. Now, number one is probably, I mean, might be my favorite wrestler, new generation era, or even earlier than that. My number one is Davey Boy Smith, aka British Bulldog, a wrestler who absolutely should have been WWE champion and one whose legacy still resonates deeply today. Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, was a once in a generation athlete, built like a powerhouse, moved like a cruiserweight, strong, explosive, charismatic, universally beloved, and just had a hell of a smile. He was over in the US, he was over in Canada, and of course, he was a mega star in the UK. Now, some of Davey Boy Smith's stats and key moments: two-time Intercontinental Champion, two-time European Champion, Tag Team Champion, 1991 Royal Rumble Iron Man, longest time in that match. He stayed in there. The historic SummerSlam 1992 main event, where over 80,000 fans were at Wembley Stadium, one of the biggest non-WrestleMania matches in WWE history. He went on to be inducted in the 2010 WWE Hall of Fame. But let's go back to that match, SummerSlam 1992. That should have launched him into a full main event run. He defeated Bret Hart in in my opinion, one of the greatest matches of all time. I mean, the crowd reaction was unbelievable. The story was beautifully crafted, and Davey Boy's momentum was real. But WWE never capitalized on it. Now, I'm not here to crap on WWE. It's got to be difficult to decide who's going to be the guy, right? But Davey Boy Smith had no world title feud, really didn't have a Royal Rumble push. His only big WrestleMania moment was Intercontinental title. He was always right there, upper card, believable, ready, but WWE kept him just outside that main event picture. Davey Boy Smith wasn't just good enough to be WWE champion, he should have been without question. And the reason Davey Boy Smith is number one is because his story isn't just a missed opportunity, it's one of the biggest what could have been moments in WWE history. His legacy lives on through his family, through his fans, and through the countless wrestlers who name him as an influence. Rest in power, Bulldog. You deserve more, and fans will always recognize it, myself included. Now let's hear from you, the Escape Crew. Recently, I asked on Instagram in a question sticker which wrestler deserved way more in WWE. And here were some of your takes. First, we have at that's just Chris underscore. He went on to say AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Montez Ford. Now that is three elite picks. AJ and Finn have done everything, but still somehow feel underrated to me. And Montez Ford is just one push away from being a superstar. I think he'll get there, but man, I do think he has it all too. Next up at Babyface Breaks, he went on to say Shelton Benjamin, who is unbelievable in the ring. He also never got his flowers. Totally agree. Shelton Benjamin is one of the smoothest athletes I think that WWE has ever had. I mean, prime mid 2000s Shelton Benjamin should have held the gold. No debate. Next up, we have at Stealth DDT. LA Knight, definitely. He hasn't gotten the push that he deserves. He deserved way more. I mean, how can anybody disagree with that? LA Knight organically got over in an era where almost nobody does. It's more of an era where or WWE kind of pushes who should get over, right? The crowd told WWE what to do, and we still waited. He absolutely deserves more. He may get it as he's still active, but it may take some time. If they don't, he's going to land on my list in 5, 10 years from now, historically. Next up, we have at Malk Gooley. Raven is one. Now, Raven was just a genius mind for character work. ECW Raven, WCW Raven, just some of the most layered storytelling ever. I mean, he deserved way more spotlight than WWE. So that's a great call out on that one. Next, we have at Marcel underscore SCR0309. He went on to say Grayson Waller. He is great in the ring and on the mic. I hope that he gets a push. Grayson Waller has that future top heel energy, I think. I think they're trying to figure out what to do with him because they know he has something in there that's not been tapped into yet. So the potential is there. He's got the confidence, the timing. He can create heat, which is hard to do in this business, and he can be funny. I think he checks every box. A real push just feels inevitable right now. He's with the New Day. They kind of don't know what to do with him. It's kind of a, you know, he's kind of a square and a circle peg or whatever that saying is. But I love all these responses you guys just gave because it just shows how passionate we are as wrestling fans about the performers who are shaping, their era back then and shaping the era that we are currently in. But for those of you out there, keep sending me your takes. They make this segment just incredibly awesome every week. Now, before you go, I got one quick favor, like I always do. If you are enjoying Pro Wrestling Escape podcast for the first time, hit that follow button. Drop a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Share it with your friends. It might feel small to you, but these reviews do tell the platforms, hey, this show is actually worth listening to. This guy is kind of cool, kind of nice to listen to. I'm not calling myself cool. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But what it means is that we can keep building this community, the Escape Crew community for Pro Wrestling Escape. We get more fan takes and crowd speaks, and we dive even deeper into the wrestling moments that we all love and hate. And selfishly, it really fires me up knowing that you're out there listening and having a blast and escaping with me every week. That is the key to escape from every day for about 15, 20 minutes once a week. Now, this is your Pro Wrestling Escape. I'm Kyle. See you next week.